Good afternoon. Welcome to the tea table. I am so happy you have joined me today. We're at the very end of August. Not summer, because summer goes until September 20th, right? First day of autumn. But we're in Labor Day weekend, and it is the most gorgeous day here. And I wanted to wear my special shawl from Ellie. Remember, she came home from Greece and brought me this beautiful shawl that has the Parthenon and the Acropolis on it. Isn't it just gorgeous? It's hard to see it all, but it has that wonderful Greek design. And so I thought that I would wear that today. And I have a fun hat that kind of reminds me of, maybe an Agatha Christie Poirot mystery. They were all set in the 1930s. And this hat reminds me of that, and the colors of the wonderful Mediterranean. And it feels like Mediterranean here today. Well, I'll tell you why I was thinking about Mediterranean. A very special friend came to see me yesterday. She invited me out for coffee. Now, I know we shouldn't mention that on the tea table, but we like all hot liquid drinks, don't we? And she invited me to come with her for coffee. And she recently came back from visiting New York. She is an engineer, and she was there on business, and she visited the Metropolitan Museum of Modern Art in New York. And she brought me a present all wrapped in a beautiful box. And I was so overwhelmed, I didn't think she would bring me a present. How thoughtful. Well, it's not just a present. It's something for the tea table to share with all of you. Something I have never really, I think it's an invention almost. And I'll show you what it is. It's a special, now I put it together with my little red and white, but it is a special cup, and the infuser is cobalt blue glass, and this is the color of my Baltic amber handle, and it's a clear glass cup. Now I have put, and then it has a little lid, so we're going to remove the lid. And then I think we're supposed to remove the infuser. See how beautiful this cobalt blue infuser is? And I put lovely Earl Grey tea, loose leaf, in here. And it's gonna take a lot of milk. It's very strong. But it's been steeping for about 7 minutes. Should we try it? Oh my. Oh, that's a cup of tea. Isn't that a beautiful cup? It's clear glass. I think it goes with my Baltic amber and my citrine. You know, it has that feeling. It's very fine. Made in Italy. It's an original design for the Museum of Modern Art in New York, and it was in the gift shop. Well, when she gave me this, it reminded me of something that my son Sam and daughter-in-law Alex sent me a few Christmases ago, and I have never yet used it on the tea table. But it is a clear pot, and it also has the clear lid, and then it has an infuser for the tea. So I thought I would put that on the table with it. It's kind of the same family. Now this is how it looks. It's a little different tray. And I used a summer tray today because I want to quickly use all my summer things. It's going away so quickly. Well, when we were having coffee, she bought me a special piece of cake, and I thought we'll bring that to the tea table. Lemon cake. Isn't that beautiful? Lemon sponge cake. So please help yourself. Yes. This tea, I think what I should have done is put hot water in here, because this tea is so strong now. This is like what I imagine. Remember we talked about samovar and how the Russians would make a strong tea in the samovar and at the top, and then pour a little bit in the glass cup and add hot water. And so there's so many people that needed a cup of hot tea. It would be like having really strong concentrated coffee and then diluting it with hot water. But it worked, because in those Russian little cabins, all they had was fire, no electricity. And so in the samovars, they would have coals burning under the hot water, would be kept at a boiling temperature, and then on top, and I'll bring my samovar sometime this fall to show you again. I've had it on here before. Mine is so old, it's from probably almost 200 years ago, that I can't really use it. I don't really trust it because I don't know what would happen if I tried to use it. It's really an antique. But they make samovars now. Now just look how lovely this cobalt blue infuser is, with this combination of the clear glass and the handle of kind of like tortoiseshell or Baltic amber. And then it came with a little lid, so it becomes its own teapot. You could put it down and in a cold day, keep it really nice and hot. I thought I'd just have to show this immediately to all of you. And it's just such a special, special gift. And my friend is from originally Venezuela, but she's half Italian, and there's a lot of Italians, and she has a place also in Italy. And so now she's ended up here, and she loves the Pacific Northwest. She plans to stay. Isn't that nice? So thank you so much for that beautiful, beautiful, treasured. This is really going, I think I have a little tea museum without trying. All my little tea things that I've collected through the years, I could put in my dream would be to have a little house. In Germany, they call it Teestube. It's a little tea house outside the house where you go out and have tea, and you can have coffee, you can have a book, but it's your little place, and you can go in the winter. They have a little heater. Go in the summer. But I'd like a little tea stubby that I could put all my tea things in. And wouldn't that be fun? Because I know a lot of you have many tea things too. I've heard your stories, and I visited your homes, and I know that everyone has wonderful collections. Yes, and they all have a story. Well, for today, when I thought, this little tea, this was very special little tea thing, and it didn't come with a saucer, so I thought I have to have a saucer, so I just brought some red and white and a little old red and white creamer. I just love red and white transferware, and then it just seemed perfect to put the lemon cake on that. And cobalt blue glass has always been a winner, hasn't it? Yes. Cobalt blue is one of the most popular colors for china and all sorts of porcelain from originally China, the country of China, and that's why it's called China. It's really porcelain, but it's called China because it came from China. And the tea came from China. Remember we had studied that once about the Silk Road and how Marco Polo, who was Italian, went up the Silk Road, and it took him several years. And he got to go to the leader of China and meet all the people along the way and the different Arab groups and the Turkish, and he learned so much, and he wrote books. And that was the first real traveler in the Middle Ages, giving information of what was going on in these countries so far away. The Silk Road still exists, and I had some wonderful tea years ago that my husband and I got in Victoria, BC, and it was a little tea shop, and it was called Russian Caravan Tea. Oh, it was the best. It had, if you know what lapsang is, it's a smoky flavor. And when you drank it, it just took you to another world. You could see the camels and the rugs and the Arab traders and on the Silk Road. And that's where Marco Polo went, and that's when really tea was brought back to Europe. And this little darling cup that I have today is made in Italy, and it was made by an artist, a design of a unique, it's in the museum there of modern art. And then it's so special they decided to reproduce it and sell it. Isn't that nice? But that's Italy again. Oh my, so much from Italy. Remember our tea talks on Italy? Opera, Renaissance, Rome. Oh my. Today, the best coffee, espresso. They took those beans from Arabia, and they created those wonderful cafe latte, cappuccino, the pour over, the espresso. Yes, they created all of that for us. And then we have the beautiful tapestries created, and the art, not to mention. Italy, leather, beautiful leather, purses and shoes. And speaking of purses, I'm carrying a purse that I have really enjoyed this summer, a little straw purse. And I think it goes with my shawl and my hat and the touch of the Parthenon and the Acropolis. Yes. I like straw. I feel like I look Grecian Italian today. When I first went to Italy, I was very young, and I was on a school tour, a class from college, my second year of college. All I remember is we drove into Rome, and we were on tour buses, and I looked out the window, and there were so many people. Everyone was meticulously dressed. Beautiful tweed, woolens, the cut, the design, the leather bags the ladies carried, the leather shoes. Everything was of such finery. And I thought, everyone is different. Everyone is different. It was so special. And I had the privilege of being in Rome the week before Easter. And when we went to the Vatican, the Pope came out on the balcony, and we got to see him. That tour was so special. Travel is so important. Do as much as you can, especially the young people on here. And I have a good report too, because you know Ellie has been on this tea talk, my granddaughter, and she's been on a road trip, and she climbed the Teton Mountains. And they were up there, her group of friends, playing in the snow, sliding, And do you know, she started sliding and couldn't stop and went down 100 feet. And I want to report to you, God is so good. She was safe. And the ranger came and said, if you had to fall, you fell the right way. Thank God. She got an injury in her quad, but it's bruises, no breaks. Truly a miracle. Then the next week, I get a picture on my phone from my grandson, Ezra. He's been on here too. And he climbed Mount Bohars, the highest peak in Idaho. And I looked it up and it said 12,600 feet. That's unbelievable. But I was asking my husband, there has to be a logical reason. I mean, Mount Rainier, you couldn't climb it the way he climbed it. It must be that they don't have the snow or something. I need to find out how that could be. But I looked it up on my phone and that's what it said. And I haven't been able to reach him to ask him exactly, was it that high? Oh my goodness. These kids. And I want to give a big cheer for the, we have these names of Generation Z, I guess it is, these young people. And so many people say, oh, they're not working. Well, that everyone I know is working. All those kids that I know are working so hard, buying their own cars, working, and then having a good time of play, their whole heart. And I was talking to my daughter about that. I said, we need to give put-ups to these kids and cheer them on. I'm proud of everyone who's working and doing a good job. Whenever I go into any kind of a situation, a store, or get help with somebody and there's a young person, I tell them, I am so proud of you working. You're doing a good job. And they always are so thankful. I do not think they hear it enough. So let's, us on the tea table, be the positive ones that give the good words to the young people. They don't have an easy world to grow up in, but I always say, we didn't choose when to be born in history. God chose for us to be born, and He said if we trust Him, He will make us a success. Isn't that beautiful? Yes. So there's opportunity at every age, in every era of history. Yes, and I'm getting ready to go back and teach in 2 weeks. I'm excited for my class. Yes, I got an email today, and I am going to teach a very unique class I've never taught. It's called Missiology, and what it is mission. It's a history of taking the good news. How did people take the good news? Missionaries, missiology. Jesus would be our first example, and I thought I'm just going to go historical. That's the only way I could go in that class. Start with Jesus being the first. He gave us the commission to go and tell the good news to everyone. And then you have Paul and his missionary journeys and all the disciples and their story. And then I'll move up to the Middle Ages. We're going to have Jerome, 400, finds all the fragments of scriptures and creates the first Bible in Latin called the Latin Vulgate that is still used today. Did you know Jerome did that in a cave in Jerusalem, in Israel? He went there. I guess he found peace and quiet. And I'm going to talk about Monica, the mother of Constantine. She was a real Christian, and she went to Jerusalem and she built a church, and it's still there today. And she built places people could pray. And then I'm going to go up to Iona and St. Patrick in Ireland and St. Columba and Iona in Scotland. They were the first real missionaries. They sent St. Columba up in Iona in the Hebrides. He sent all of his monks, they were a monastic order, out 2 by 2, and their rule was they could not ride on a mule. They walked. They all walked. They felt they needed to walk with the people and talk with the people. And the church grew. And out of that came another monastery far up northeast England, almost to Scotland, Lindisfarne. Lindisfarne became a famous place of learning. And in these monasteries, they were copiers. There were no printing presses. They had to copy the Bible. They were copying the Latin Bible, and they created Bibles by hand, and would take enormous amount of time. And they decorated beautifully with beautiful inks that the Book of Kells, which was done in Iona, no one even knows the formula for those inks. And they are still bright and beautiful. You can look it up, Book of Kells, Kells. They're in Trinity College, Dublin. I saw them. They're displayed. And then I'm going to move up to the Renaissance and Reformation, and then the missionary work was done through translation of Scripture, right? And then I thought, you know what? The crux of everything is we are all missionaries. We are all a witness. Our lives, whether we say anything or not, we are possibly giving nonverbal communication of God's love just by living. So it's going to be a really fun class. I am looking forward to it. Yes. So some of you on this Tea Talk are going to be in that class. My Kenyans are going to be in my class. And they are good students. They are very attentive, very devout, and enthusiastic. They love to learn. And I thought, I can only teach something I love. I can only teach something that I feel passionately about. And I feel good about this. At first I thought, ooh, how could I teach that? I'm used to church history, but I'm just going to turn it into a whole nother level of church history. Because that's what it is. It's what, where, why, and how. Isn't it beautiful to learn? September, I love you, you're coming, and I want to encourage everyone. Get your journal, get your pens, start your candles, your fire, get cozy, and study, write. Do some kind of study. There's many, many ways to study and to join in with others. And if you don't have someone, form something. That's how the greatest things happen. People want to do something and no one else is doing it, and you have a passion about it. Guess what? That's what you're supposed to do. That's what my pastor said when I was growing up. Pastor Fulton Buntain. Some of you know him. And I'll never forget that. He said, if you have a passion and you have a vision and no one else is doing it, and you tell people to do it, they don't understand, that's your vision. That's your call. Find a way to do it. Start. Just start. In a small, very small way is best. And it will grow. And you will be happy because you are doing your part. We're not created by God to be spectators. You know, watching screens, watching others, watching, that's all right for a little while, but we're meant to be doers. creators, involved, interact with others, community, yes. Live is best. In person, and didn't we learn that during COVID? How precious in person is, and we can do it now. There's nothing to stop us. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please subscribe. Push the notification bell and you'll be notified. And if you liked it, the like button, and share. I would love you to share with others. This is for everyone. This is just a little offering of love. The tea table. And my goal is to encourage you to do what you're meant to do. And if you even begin in a small way, I applaud you for that. Yes, I do. And you know, I wanted to just say one thing about what I'm wearing, this Parthenon and the Acropolis. Well, you know, when I went to Greece, I was really young, and I was actually in a college class, but we were going literally, we went from Rome to Egypt, to Cyprus, to Israel, and then to Greece. We were in each of these countries just a day or two. Israel, we were there 4 days. Egypt, 3. Greece, I think 1.5. So I remember we were driving by the Parthenon, and they said, there's the Acropolis and the Parthenon. Well, and I've talked to so many people. We all kind of think, well, what is it? The Parthenon or the Acropolis? Well, do you know what this is? This is the Parthenon. The building is the Parthenon. But do you know what the Acropolis is? It's the mountain of stone that it's built on. It's a mountain of stone and ruins of everything, and it's called the Acropolis. But the top building, this that you see, is the Parthenon. I think it's so important to learn new things, retain what we have, and pass it on. One of the best ways to remember what you have learned is to pass it on to someone else. That's the best way. Share. Have a conversation. That's what C.S. Lewis and his brother and Tolkien did. And out of that came the greatest books of the 20th century. We talked about that before. Nothing comes in a vacuum. No one just creates something because they thought of it without any inspiration. There is always something behind. We're all inspired by someone or something. Yes. So I hope that we on the tea table can inspire one another. And so here, this little glass, so sweet, somebody decided they were going to make a very creative teapot or teacup pot. It's both. It's all. It's got the tea, it goes there, and then it has the lid. So it's genius. It's got it all. All you need is extra hot water. Okay, well, thanks again for joining me. I hope you have a fabulous weekend. Happy Labor Day to all the workers. Have a day off, have a picnic, go somewhere, enjoy the last beauty of glorious summer. Thank you so much. And I'll look forward to seeing you in September next time. God bless.